last Toastmasters meeting, we do this thing in Toastmasters called table topics, and you volunteer to answer a question or do a certain thing, but it's practice in impromptu speaking. So that night's topic was, we were given a list of these magic pills, and we were to choose a pill and explain why we chose it and what we thought how we would benefit from that. So the pill that I chose was one that would demonstrate the flow of prosperity every day. And you just took this pill and you could go out and spend all the money you wanted to spend, every day. You could just go out and spend money, and when you got up the next morning, the same money would be in the bank. Like you hadn't spent anything at all. So I got thinking, well, what if I took 2 or 3 of these a day? Wow! What a great demonstration that would be. But that's not really how demonstration happens. We wish we could take a pill for it, but you know, lots of times it takes longer than just swallowing a pill to have a demonstration. And as Jim's song said, we often get in the way of having that come forth. And what we think, you know, there is a way, but it's not something that we do in the outer. There is a way to manifest prosperity and the good we want to have in our world, the peace and the love and the harmony and even the physical things that we want to have in our world. But it's not something that we can do in the outer, not with permanent, lasting results. And what we think passes for demonstration often is just a change that's just usually manipulating the effects of consciousness. Taking what we see out here and moving it around. You know, my mother used to change our living room furniture around every Monday. That was her cleaning day, and she wanted us to know that she actually cleaned the house. So she would rearrange the furniture just about every Monday. She would rearrange the furniture. But you know what? Nothing changed. Nothing changed about that. It was the same furniture, it was the same room. We just moved it around in different places. We kind of do that with our minds, with the things in our lives. You know, it's akin to this idea that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And so we move things around. We find ourselves in, you know, different places. We tweak it here and there. We're a different place at different time with different people. But all we're doing is moving the same consciousness around, the same effects of consciousness around. There's no real change. A few years ago, one of my favorite shows was Touched by an Angel. And there just hasn't been anything on TV lately that even remotely helps me identify with that program. But there was one particular line that I remember I kind of hold on to, and it came up for me when I was putting this together. And the young angel, can't remember her name, but she was stressing out over something that was supposed to happen, and it didn't happen, and she was all up in arms why she couldn't make this happen. And Tess pulled her aside, the elder angel pulled her aside and said, "Baby, ask the answer. Ask the answer." That's going within. Because you see, the answer is always inside of you. And it comes from that place deep within you that needs to be a part of a permanent manifestation of something that is real and truthful and honest and exactly what we need maybe not always what we want, but exactly what we need, based on our relationship with God. Ask the answer. Jesus demonstrated this when he went out into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. And I'll read the passage to you. It's Matthew 4, 1 through 13. Then Jesus was led up by Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. Now, we know that the devil is concentrated negative energy. Charles Fillmore called it crystallized negative energy. And so Jesus was going to be tested by this energy, this false power. And so he finds himself there, and along comes the tempter and says to him, "You are the Son of God. Command these stones to become loaves of bread." But Jesus answered, because Jesus knew to ask the answer. He knew the answer to everything the devil was going to throw at him was going to be from the mind of God, because the Christ consciousness is our direct line of communication with God. So Jesus said, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." Anything that's satisfying and fulfilling comes from that word of God, that movement of God within us that we invite to show up in our awareness and our consciousness. Then the devil took him to the holy city and set him on the pinnacle of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will give His angels charge of you." Well, that's kind of foolishness, to go up to the top of the Trump Tower, let's say, and throw yourself down. That's tempting God. God won't be mocked. That's tempting God. And you can't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't bring about the results you want. You know, if you do something like that, the angels are not most likely going to come in and rescue you. You know, you're going to end up on wherever that building is. So Jesus said, again, it is written, "You shall not tempt the Lord your God." And I changed the "shall not" to "cannot." You cannot tempt God and throw yourself off of something and expect that God's going to rescue you when you make that choice yourself. It's just not going to happen. And then he says, he showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them, and he said to him, "All these I will give to you if you will fall down and worship me." Then Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." And we can see that in our world today. All this running around, rearranging the effects of ill-guided consciousness, moving, deals, making deals, trading this, trading that, thinking that this will change things, and mostly it's selfish action meant to empower ourselves, and it doesn't. It disempowers us when we do that. We give our power away to things outside of God. So Jesus says, "You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." You shall serve only that highest and best in you, that perfection of consciousness. He says in another place, "Seek first the kingdom." Seek first the kingdom of God, That's that God presence and power in you. And don't, nothing good could come from just manipulating anything in the outer. Moving our stocks and bonds around. Exchanging money for this or that. That's not where change happens. And the devil left him, and behold, angels came to minister to him. He didn't have to do anything crazy for those angels to come and minister to him. He just had to be still and know that God is Lord. He called him Father. We can call him Mother. We can call it Mother. Jesus, our way shower, shows us how to produce lasting change. It's a shift in consciousness to demonstrate God's power into our lives. It points us in the direction of the one true answer, and that's God mind in you. The demonstration is just answered prayer. And it's that answered prayer that is yes. If it's not of God and God's kingdom, the answer is going to be no. And you won't be able to demonstrate because you're not relying on that God power in you to give you the right answer, the right direction, the right way you should go. I had this happen when I met my late husband. And I was a new minister in Port Angeles, Washington. And I'd been there about a month. And I remember distinctly the moment that I was driving home. And it had been kind of a rough day. And I said, you know what, God? I don't want to do this work alone. And if you're ready to send me my perfect spiritual partner, I am ready to receive. A month later, he walked into my church. We recognized each other immediately. We got that charge that I was talking about in meditation of, touching the hem and going, oh my God. Answered prayer. And he turned out to be my soulmate. He turned out to be my perfect spiritual partner. And we decided at the beginning of our relationship that only by being in a close personal relationship with each other that's steeped in love could we learn some of the things that we could learn no other way. And we continue to learn and grow all the way up. We continue now to learn and grow. I know his presence is there all the time. So demonstration is answered prayer. And I think this is what, looking at our world of politics and how that is such a mishmash of moving stuff around and not really changing anything. This is what Marianne Williamson has been talking about, why she's running for president. Unfortunately, not enough people are listening. She speaks the truth about this. The rule of demonstration is, you shall decide on a thing, and the what is yours, as Jim said, and the how is always God's. So the what is yours, you get this great idea, this is what you want to have happen. And then the great secret of demonstration is to let go and let God. Don't mess with it. In my developing relationship with Burley, I always, I would go and say, well, God, can I just do this? Can I just kind of push things a little bit? And God would say, go ahead, but it'll hurt. Don't do it. What God gets tough with me sometimes. He said, if you knew anything about having a healthy relationship, you'd have had one by now. So let me do it for you, okay? Great lesson in learning to let go and let God. I have another thing that's going on right now, and it just gives me goosebumps to even think about it. I opened an email a couple of months ago, and it said, "Go to Italy with Unity." I have dreamed of going to Italy all my life. Since I was a little kid, I wanted to go to Italy. I know things about Italy that I don't know how I knew them. But I've always wanted to go to Italy. And when I would be sick or in the hospital a couple of times preparing for surgery, Burley would come and hold my hand and tell me how he was going to take me to Italy. And a lot of life got in our way and we never made it. But I think his hand was in this somehow. Because there was this trip. And I knew that I had to go. And that was my what? I knew I had to go. Hey, the how is up to God. First of all, I went into limited thinking and saying, I can't afford to do that. God said, you can. You can. Just let me do it for you. You can. And the whole thing is like a demonstration of where I've come from. After Burley died, I was, I lost everything. Lost everything. And so it's been about rebuilding my life and, relying more and more on God. And so here is this dream coming true. In God's right timing, it's coming true. And I know that somehow, some way, it has Burley's blessing on it. And I get to go to Italy with a group of Unity people. Wow! How exciting is that? I still get goosebumps when I think about it. So, that's how demonstration works. If I had let my limited thinking get in my way, saying I can't afford that, which is usually my answer to everything, and said, yes, God, let's do this, I wouldn't be going to Italy. I got out of God's way, and God is showing me exactly how to get there. I have to make some sacrifices. I could give up a few things. I may be eating beans and rice for the rest of the year. So be it, it's worth it. So be it. So, we have to get out of our own way. When they see things out there that we want to change, it's God that can give us the roadmap to create that change in our lives. To have it really work out. Not just be the same old stuff moved around and around and around. There's a song by a group called the Casting Crowns that they play quite often on the Christian radio station, The River. And I like it. It fits a Unity thought message. It says, but the voice of truth tells me a different story. And the voice of truth says, do not be afraid. And the voice of truth says, this is for my glory, God's glory. Out of all the voices calling out to me, I will choose to listen and believe. I will choose to listen and believe the voice of truth. I will listen and believe. That voice of truth in you that will never, ever, if you get your stuff out of the way, God's got your back. God's got your back all the time. So all the voices calling out to you every day, the temptations that are on every side, just call out to that voice of truth. Listen for it. Go within. Even if it's just for a moment, even if it's just to touch the hem. you'll hear that still small voice. Unity Minister Doug Bodorf says, if you are seeking an answer to a perplexing problem, consider using the following form of prayer. You do not need to know specifically how the thing will work out, only that it is working out now. How would you feel if you had your perfect resolution? The answer to your prayer begins the moment you make a conscious connection with your center of power. Ask the answer if you want positive, lasting results. God, through the Christ in you, will give you the truth you need to change your life and have a real effect on the rest of the world as you radiate God's truth into every circumstance. God is blessing us now, and so it is.